certain people, I should say, me included, are very high on the front seven, thinking that they could be a playmaking, game-changing unit. What do you see from them, and what are you expecting from them?
I see all the same things, and I think the sky's the limit. And it all starts, right? The bar is set to me by the leadership of those guys, and in that front seven, we have leaders on every level. Start with Zach Sealer up front with the D-line. I got to give credit to Benito Jones too. Probably doesn't get mentioned a lot as a leader, but the growth I've seen in him in 2 years has been tremendous. He's trying to help some of these young bucks come along with their technique and fundamentals and strain and things of that nature. Outside back, we have a ton of them, right? You talk Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson coming into year two. All those guys are not just leaders by example, just in terms of how they work and their approach to work every day, and just knowing that there's no governor on them. But they're also trying to influence some of these guys like Quentin Bell, who is an older player, but is still trying to refine his game and find his way. Mo Kamara, Cam Good, they've been tremendous influences on them. And then when you talk about our inside backers with Terrell Dotson, Jordan Brooks, the leadership strides they've made coming into year two have been outstanding. And they're all like flag bearers for what we're trying to do from a culture standpoint. So the expectations we have for that front seven, yeah, they're high, and rightfully so. But that standard has been set daily by those guys, and that's why we have those expectations.
What kind of a message is sent to the players when a guy like Zach Sealer gets rewarded?
I mean, so let me go back. Adelius Thomas has been here with our Bill Walsh minority internship. And to me, their paths are very similar, right? Adelius was a sixth-round pick, right? Was fighting to stay on a roster that ended up winning a Super Bowl. But every accolade he achieved was earned. Zach Sealer has done the same thing. He deserved this seat at the table. He deserved the reward that has come from it. And I think it's a testament to just the importance of just hard work, right? And just not being denied, just knowing that if you keep trying to do the right thing daily, you'll be rewarded for it. So hopefully there's residuals throughout the organization because of that.
I want to ask you about everybody's favorite topic, which is the cornerback.
Yeah.
We see the unit out there. They're holding their own. Obviously, you're leaning a lot on the front seven. But can you hold up for an entire season playing zone with the talent that you have there?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a tremendous amount of faith in who we have playing out there right now, in our coaches, and in our front seven's ability to help them. But the one thing I know about that group, Storm Duck, Ethan Bonner, Kendall Sheffield, I can go on, is that they come out here every day and compete, which is all we ask for. And we know that because of that, right? You talk about iron sharpen iron. They're going to face better receivers than the guys that we have. So through that competition, both individually and collectively as a whole, that group is getting better. And when you have that mindset going into the day, right? Like you can't help but respond to just what we're trying to do as a defense, right? So as we play better up front, those guys gain confidence both in their technique and fundamentals, and you're seeing that come to life. So while we may not have some of the names that you're used to around here in the secondary, no, I take that because we do have Minka Fitzpatrick. Let's not act like we're just, right, we don't have any names out there. But those guys are fighting to make a name for themselves, and I think you're going to see that once the regular season starts.
Piggybacking off that question, when you evaluate your young corners, what quality above all others stands out as most important to you?
Competitiveness, right? You got to have a short memory at that position because you're going to give up plays. The great ones do. But just being able to respond and play the next snap. And the thing about all those guys is they've had that, right? Now, some of that, there's been some growth where you had to talk to them like, hey, put that snap behind you, let's ride. Trust your technique and fundamentals, trust your ability. And we just we chip away at some of the outer layers, knowing that there's greatness, there's a sculpture in there that we're all going to love. And we're just trying to chip some of those pieces off to make sure we get there. But all those guys, man, I love them all to a T. And I know that whatever they're supposed to be, they'll be, and it'll be good enough for us to go out there and play great defense.
I want to ask you about Minka. How much can he help those young corners? And with Jalen Ramsey no longer here, is he now their ultimate chess piece?
Minka's a stud. I'm so happy that he's here, not just because of who he is as a player, but obviously for the intangibles he brings off the field. I can see us doing some things with him, and I'll have to wait for the opponents to try to figure that out come the regular season. But we have plans for sure.
How does his ability to come down and play corner for the slot balance positions, also if he's college experience as a corner, how does those two guys having such good coverage backgrounds kind of ease the stress of the entire secondary?
Oh man, yeah, him, Iffy, Ashton Davis, Elijah Campbell has played nickel here in the past, and we've yet to see exactly what the Dante Trader kid can bring too. So those guys in the safety position that have that multiple skill set that can do a bunch of jobs, that's going to create some angst in the offense because they're not going to know who's in, who's doing what, right? Particularly when you have three of them on the field at the same time. So my brain starts immediately spinning about all the angst and hesitation you can cause in the offense because they don't know what they're going to do. And their ability to play, man, I think you guys see when we go one-on-ones every day, Minka he guards Tyreek every day, which haven't had a lot of safeties that can do that. So, man, it's just fun. And yes, I think that group collectively can be chess pieces. It's not just Minka. I think we can do a lot with the skill sets they have.
Even then, speaking of different skill sets, obviously you got edge rushers who can rush the passer. You got a D lineman and sealer who can rush the passer. But yesterday we saw Mike Hilton put a hit stick on Jalen Wright.
Yeah, man.
Safety. So when you see you play like that, I mean, what kind of gears start shifting in your brain, knowing you have a DB who can rush passer too?
Yeah, I think if anybody knows Mike Hilton, they know that he can blitz. So I'm going to take advantage of that skill set for sure. And the thing I love about Mike is he's a pro's pro, right? He's out there attacking the field every day, both on and off, trying to make sure he gets the playbook and schematic things right. And then he's a great example for some of these younger guys because I think this is his third team now, has been a high-level player in this league for a long time, and they can see the path and the things it takes to be able to do that. So I love the fact that he's here.
You talked about year two for Chop. What's maybe an overlooked attribute he has, and what can you say about how he's taken on these year two challenges?
The thing I love most about Chop is that regardless of the success he's had, both in college being a first-round pick and obviously how he finished the year a year ago with all the successes, is he is incredibly humble and incredibly hungry. And usually when you have that combination of two and you have his skill set, success is on the horizon. So I think it's just his humility and his hunger to be great.
I feel I might be misremembering exactly who was there, but Mike told us that he had a conversation with Jack Jones when he first got here.
Okay.
6 a.m. chat about seizing your opportunities, being in control of your own destiny.
Yeah.
Were you part of that conversation?
I was not. But go ahead.
For somebody like Jack, who obviously is so talented, but hasn't been able to stay out of trouble off the field, like what kind of messaging do you give him, considering his opportunity on the field?
Yeah. I love Jack Jones. And my only message to him was be yourself and go out there and be a great teammate. And if you do that, the rest of the things will take care of themselves. Now, in being a great teammate, that means you got to handle your responsibilities off the field, right? Your life can't be in chaos off of it and then expect to come in here and be in alignment with what we're trying to do. And everything he's promised he would do, he's done to date. It's undeniable that he has a skill set to go out there and compete in the National Football League. I mean, how many pick sixes does a guy have? So the one thing I don't want him to do is feel pressure that he needs to change and be somebody he's not. I think there's just a normal growth and evolution that we're all going through as people, and we're just trying to help him along that path.
What would be your message for Kenneth Grant and any of the other first-year players for that joint practice at Chicago?
To trust their technique and fundamentals in their training. The thing that happens a lot, particularly with younger players, is when they get in the fire and you're outside of your normal where you're practicing against the same guy every day, is they start to revert back to old habits. We're trying to make this new training their new habits. So that to me is the biggest thing. Just making sure you don't revert back to some of the things you've done in the past and you try to do what you've been trained to do to this point.
How is Kenneth looking?
Awesome. He's everything we thought would be. I think his game particularly comes to life when the pads come on, right? And you've seen the impact he can have both in the middle of the pocket as a run defender and as a pass rusher.
How are Chuck and Jalen Phillips both doing? Obviously, you never had Chuck to this level
Yeah.
last year, and then they had him for a little bit.
Yeah, they're everything we've expected them to be. Those guys have had the careers they've had for a reason. They have very high expectations of themselves, and they practice to that. So when you have guys that have reached the ceilings they've had, and still come out and put the work ethic and effort they've put forth on the practice field, there's residuals with that with all the guys. So I love that they're out there competing the way they do, and we're going to be a good defense because of that.
Coach, talk about the safeties. Obviously, KJ Britt, Willie Gay, the 3 defensive tackles you guys draft. First part, is it safe to assume that building out the teeth of the defense was important to you guys this year? And if so, how was the returns on that been 10 days of the game?
It's been great. It's been great. I think great defenses are built up the middle, right? You got to be strong up the middle, and that's going to force the ball to edges. And fortunately, we have great edges, both at the defensive end spot, and then if those backers, they have to fill in the alley, or safeties. So feel really strong about that. We're constantly working, right, every day to make sure we're solid from a technique and schematic standpoint, but really, really thrilled with the additions we've made.
What do you think of Willie Gay's cat?
Oh, man. Gosh, dog. You guys have seen it, right? The guys all over the place. That linebacker room with Joe Barry and Matt O'Donnell and all the work that those guys have put in, I feel like we have multiple starters in that room, guys that can come out here and play for us. Now it'll be our job from a coaching standpoint to see how many of those guys we can get on the field at the same time to go out there and wreak havoc.
Not to keep hammering on the cornerbacks here, but Cam Smith, we heard Mike say yesterday, like, we're all awaiting his ability to stay on the field. How difficult is the evaluation been for him in year 3 when, 10 days in, he's already on the side?
Yeah, and you feel for Cam because the want to is there, the fight is there. It's just hard to have steady growth when you can't be on the field. So the challenge to him ultimately is just to see if he can get healthy and be out there consistently for his team. But until that happens, obviously the monumental gains will be difficult.
All right, guys.